Now let's begin with the first slot with Mr. Lau, who will be giving you a glimpse into our ACCA program with saving taxes. Take it away, Mr. Lau.
Thank you, Samantha. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, let's begin. Okay. Right, so we're going to talk a bit about ACCA. And obviously, the first thing I would like to share is the prospects. And we have been hearing people saying that accountancy is becoming obsolete soon, that accountants should be placed in the museum so that it will all be replaced by robots, machines, and so on. Before we start into saving taxes, so is that true? Now, I'm going to share you one of the news article that was put up in the Star on the 7th of June, 2021. And I'll just read you the headings. Accountants among top 5 professionals in demand. I think that's simple enough for us to understand that we are not going to the museum yet. We are still going to the offices and the companies for good jobs. Now, in front of you is actually a screenshot which I've taken from the US Labor Bureau that gives us a forecast of the job outlook that involve the accountancy profession for the next 10 years from 2019 to 2029. And why do I take from US? Well, we all agree that US is, the economy powerhouse. They have advanced technologies. So if ever that jobs will be replaced, we will always look at how fast the US is going to do it. And you can see that in front of your screen, the job outlook for the next 10 years up to 2029 will still grow at the rate of 4%. And this is as fast as average. So it's not slowing down. Well, it's not fantastic, but basically it's still suggesting that yes, there will still be needs of accountants. So professional accountants are in need. So basically, when we're going to embark into the ACCA studies, what are the subject area that we're going to study? I just give you a quick glance and let some of you might not know exactly what do we do in this kind of qualification. So just a quick glance. Now, the core of the studies will actually be financial accounting and management accounting. So what does a financial accountant do? It's to basically determine how well that you've been doing. So that is people that look at the historical results, whereas the management accountants are people that deals with decision making, future forecasting. They are the one that determines the costing of a product, how much we should sell, and that is more to future looking kind of accountants. Now, there will be another few areas that we're going to cover. Auditing. If some of you are following the news recently, there is a listed company called Serba Dynamic that is having some kind of auditing issues with KPMG, and then you can hear that companies is actually suing the auditors. The independent directors have just resigned yesterday. Now, all that will be something that you can pick it up from the studies of auditing, finance. We talk about IPO. How do we raise money? If you have heard of stories of how Grab is planning of an IPO in US. And in fact, if they have successfully listed themselves according to what they have stated, they will be even bigger in terms of market capitalization than Maybank. And Maybank is actually the biggest so far listed company in Malaysia. And can you imagine, these are all the things that we're doing in finance, which is very, very exciting. It's all about money. And today is where we're going to share a bit about taxation. So I was thinking that instead of every time telling you guys about what is in the course, let's do a quick study later on. And you might want to go through with you for a couple of minutes of what we do. And there will be areas on business strategies and management. Now, do we actually have a paper to study that, at the end of the study that you say, my job is to apply to be a CEO? Now, you don't really have a qualification like that, right? But we just want to tell you that when you study a professional qualification like ACCA, indirectly, we groom you to become a business leader. So you will then be able to position yourself, one day you become a CEO of a company, you become a strategist. So that's where the syllabus areas comes in. And you can't do all these things if you do not understand law. So there will still be a paper that in ACCA itself that you're going to study about business law, corporate law, and various kind of law. Now, right in front of you is actually another screenshot that we have taken from the ACCA website. And this is concerning about, if you want to get a job, you just want to browse what kind of jobs according to the role or the job title. Well, I think just to run through all that itself will take so much time. And some people, you start seeing stars, wow, I thought we're just studying and becoming an accountant. Why would there be so many titles to our job? And this is not all, these are just some of the main role that we are taking. So that's why we want you to understand that the prospects of doing professional accounting is not going down, but it's actually bringing you up to quite interesting opportunities out there. Now, so today we're going to talk about simple ideas that, maybe your parents or maybe your students that you're wondering, like, what do we do in terms of taxes? There's always a joke that there are two things you cannot avoid in life. One is death, the other one is tax. And normally in our class we tell students that even after you die you still have to pay tax. A lot of people say, what? Yes. How does a dead person pay taxes and who does it? So all these are example of things that you need to know. And there are people that after their family members has passed away because they did not manage the tax affairs of the deceased. The income tax people come knocking at your door and then send you a bill and say that's what you have to pay. And then you say, but that person is dead. But no, because the law actually requires taxations to be imposed even after death. Now, today's idea is just to look at saving taxes. Now, let's talk about tax relief that most of us will be quite familiar, because if you have a job, you've got income, you pay taxes, you claim this thing called relief. Like, parents who have children, they claim 2,000 for their child. And then if you buy some insurance, you claim all that. Now, reliefs are divided into so many forms for resident individual. But the thing is, there's a lot of individuals do not maximize the claim of the tax relief by not planning well. Now, what do you mean by planning well? Now, that's why we always tell people tax requires planning. Planning is what you do. You plan before you do it, and you don't do it then later you think about how to solve the problem. You don't go to a tax guy and say that this is what I've done, so tell me how do I save taxes. No, you have to go to a tax guy and say that, hey, this is what I plan to do, and tell me how do I save taxes. And think about this. If you can devise a plan that help corporations to save R1 million of taxes, how much do you think that the company is willing to pay you by saving R1 million for them? I mean, just think about this logic, okay? Now, we talk about planning for tax relief. Now, I'll just give an example. We do have a relief for full medical checkup. So if you go for medical checkup, you can claim up to R1,000 maximum a year. If you go for vaccination, you can also claim up to R1,000 a year as well. Now, but look at this amount. If I have 4 person in the family, people like to do things in a gang, in a cluster. Now the word is called cluster, okay? So the whole family of you go and do a medical checkup, and then you pay for all, the top atas kind of package. It probably will cost you about 400-500 ringgit per individual, and boom, you're going to blow away your 1,000 limit. So that's why you realize that you're going to lose this kind of tax advantage. You're not saving taxes because you're not planning well. So you need to see how we can plan by either we divide the amount. One bill will be paid by the husband, the other bill paid by the wife. And then after that, or you can basically divide into the visit into one in this year, one in next year. Now, another trick that we always tell people is, my mother, I'm going to share another example that we're going to see here, which is parents. Parents, my mom needs to go for this eye surgery for her cataract, and it's not cheap. All right. So, and she needs to do 2 eyes. Nobody do 1 eye if you both eyes got problem. And when you have to do it both eyes, you realize that you're going to blow over 8,000 ringgit if you go for, that kind of sensible, good quality lenses. So what are you going to do? Now, so I have structured and made the appointment in such a way that my mom go for 1 surgery, at the end of December. So I gave my mom a Christmas present. So let's say it cost me about 4,000, 5,000. Okay. Then the next year, January, which you go into a different financial year, I will ask her to go for the other eye surgery so that I will split the payment into, let's say, 2020 and 2021. So I will not blow up the limit. I'll be able to claim both amount. But if you're going to do it all one shot, imagine you go for a surgery that costs you 10,000, you will realize yourself that 2,000 will actually be wasted, okay? Now, another example that we can look here is this thing called parental care, okay? Now, one thing is just to give you an example, how when we learn and understand the law, we can use this law to our advantage. Now, let's say my parents require care, okay? So her condition requires care. Now, I can split the workload with my brother. So I'm going to tell my brother, Coco, take care of my mom. And you take care of her 3 days a week. I will take care of her 4 days a week. But for your work to take care of my mom, I'm going to pay you, let's say, 1,000 ringgit a month. That's your salary. Then my brother will say, because I take care of my mom 4 days a week, so he will also pay me 1,000 ringgit a month. Now think about this reciprocal treatment. I pay him 1,000 a month. He pays me 1,000 a month. So effectively, what is the deal? It's zero, right? But we do pay each other 1,000 ringgit a month. So in the whole year, we actually paying each other 12,000 to take care of our parents. And this has allowed us to create a tax relief that we can claim up to 8,000. So I can claim 8,000. My brother can claim 8,000. You see, it's quite simple, right? So actually you say, hey, it doesn't really cost anything, but by understanding the tax law, you'll be able to do it and take advantage, all right? Now, for those parents that they are all like 60 years old and above, the government actually give a relief of 1,005 to those children who claim that they just take care of their parent. Now, but this 1,005 is only given on conditions you don't claim the relief for medical treatment. And because our family, we have, including myself, I got 4 siblings. So if I ever need to bring my parents for any medical treatment, what we have to do among our brothers and sisters is to plan how to share out the relief so that we will maximize it. Now, imagine if you have 3 siblings, a dad and a mom, they're both 70, and dad requires a medical treatment which costs you about 15,000 ringgit. Now, what you should do is the 15,000 can be shared out, for example, between 2 person. One person takes 7,500, and then the other person will be able to claim parental care, which comes to 3,000. So by sharing out the relief, you will be able to take advantage to increase your tax saving. Now, I give you another very, very exciting thing about what we can do. Government give a lot of free stuff, but it's that we never reach out to take it from the government. Now, there's one thing that I can suggest to those parents. If you've got children, you can really take this free insurance from the government. Now, what you do is you can take advantage of this thing called SSBN deposit for your children. The opening of the account is so simple. You just go online, click, 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 click. That's it. You don't even need to go to any counter. You don't have to submit anything. It's done online, fully, 100%. And why is this good? You don't lose the money that you spend. There are people ask you, hey, you can go and buy books. Buy books can claim relief. But there are a lot of people buying books to claim relief and they don't read the books. Then you're wasting money. You're spending more money to get less saving. But this is something you're going to do, but you will not lose your money. I'll give an example what you can see here. Right in front of you is just an example of what a package that you can do through this SSPN saving. If you save 300 ringgit a month, but the government will deduct 30 ringgit for insurance. So basically your saving is only 270 ringgit. But you will get all these benefits over here, death and so on. And the best thing about this insurance package is they don't need to do medical checkup. There are a lot of people with high blood pressure, diabetes, they can't buy insurance, but the government is giving this to you without condition. Just save up for your children and this insurance is yours, okay? But how do we say that this is a free insurance? Now, you've just spent 3,600 ringgit a month. a year, and you only get a savings of 3,240 because 360 goes to the cost of the insurance. But SSPN account gives very, very good dividend. You know, a lot of people didn't know. Like last year in 2020, the dividend was 4%. It's much higher than your FD. So 4% you get, now I'm just giving a rough calculation of 120. Actually, it won't be that high because you're paying by month, okay? Now, but don't forget, you claim a tax relief, which gives you a tax saving. Now, if you're paying at 8% tax rate, the claim of 3,600 will give you a tax saving of 288 ringgit. Now, what do you get back at the end? You get back 3,648. You got 48 ringgit extra in your bank account, plus the insurance protection, which is free. See, the government is giving you free insurance, but are you taking it? Are you reaching out? But a lot of people say, I didn't know. Well, that's because you didn't study, you see. You don't have that knowledge. So you need people with the right knowledge to come to you and tell you that's what you can do. Now, again, another example, which is even better. If your tax rate is 14%, which is quite normal, if you're in the middle class, 14% is not, sorry, 13% is not very high. But then your saving goes up to 468 and you get back 3,828. That's extra 228 ringgit after a year, plus free insurance. So are we reaching out to all these benefits? And why are we not? Because we don't have knowledge. A lot of times when we do not know. You know, the government is giving new companies that they incorporate up to end of 2021 a tax rebate of 20,000 for the next 3 years. 60,000 of tax saving. But a lot of people say, I didn't know that. By the time you know that, you've missed the period. But that's because knowledge matters. Now, I give another one last example. How do we reduce tax through EPF? Now, this might apply to a lot of people. You know, you're executive in big companies, you get fairly high salary, right? Let's say you've got a salary of 10,000 a month. An employer will give you a 12% EPF, which is actually 1,002. So the whole year, it will cost the employer 11,200 ringgit. And then times 12 months is 134,400. That's what the employer is going to pay, okay? So you as an employee will be taxed at 120,000 a year. That's your salary, okay? That's your salary. Now, let's just do a slight adjustment to these two figures, okay? Cut your salary by 600 ringgit a month so that it becomes 9,004, all right? Now, maybe 600,000 ringgit a month is anyway, it's not going to create a lot of significant impact on your life, all right? So just take out 600 ringgit a month. But where will the 600 ringgit goes? Now, you will ask your employer, hey, boss, please put that amount into the employer's EPF. So you notice I have moved the 9,000, the 10,000 ringgit, I moved the 600 to the employer's EPF. So that at the end of the day, now because EPF, you know, there's some rounding errors, so I'm just making up as close as it can. The whole year will cost the employer 134,160. So actually you get back more or less the same thing, okay? You're getting back 134,400. You're not losing anything, but your money is in the EPF account. Okay, but the difference in terms of taxes is this. Your salary now dropped to 112,800. And that is a reduction of 7,200 ringgit of income a year. Now, if you are actually, you know, getting a 10,000 kind of salary a month, you probably will be paying taxes at 13% or 21%. And if you're paying taxes at the band of 13%, you have saved almost 1,000 ringgit a year by not reducing your income, but by simply pushing away your income from the salary to the EPF. And if you're those who earn at a higher, higher band, and then your tax rate is higher at 21%, you would have saved 1,512. Well, what is 1,512 to you? Well, to me is I can change a phone, a rather good phone, you know, sign up a package with Maxis for my iPhone will cost me about 3,000 plus. And every 2 year, I can change a phone. And I can say that this phone is paid by the government, what, through my tax saving. See, these are just example of things that I'm just trying to share with you over this very short session about what we learn in taxes. And this is just simple things that could apply to you as an individual. So can you imagine the vast things that we can do in tax? And people are saying that how we can get creative with taxes. Now, Bill Gates actually, I'm sorry, Warren Buffett actually complained about this. He is one of the most richest men in the world, but he said that yet he pay less taxes than his employee. Now, why is that so? Well, that's because corporations are able to hire people who understands the law, and we are not cheating, but we're just trying to take the advantage of the law so that it benefit ourselves. All right. Now, this is just a sharing that I thought of, like just share with everybody today to let you feel that, that's part of what we learn. And this is called taxation. So instead of going through, the syllabus structures and so on, my invitation to you is come and join ACCA. There's a lot that you're going to learn. There's a lot of things very, very practical. The students are so excited that after they learn taxation, they go back and tell their parents, Papa, you don't need to give people to do. I'll do it for you. Because all these things is at fingertips. You can learn it yourself. It's that simple. So I hope this sharing will benefit and also will trigger some desire and curiosities that you want to learn about ACCA and taxation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yap. Thank you very much for your knowledge sharing. Mr. Lau, sorry. Oh my goodness. I will surely be seeing you soon about my taxes, Mr. Lau. Now, let me cover some questions from the audience. Okay, give me a few minutes. Okay, so the first question, um, based on Business Insider projects, an 8% of decline in accounting jobs. Do know that you said, we will accounting jobs will not be obsolete anytime soon.
Mm.
But basically, what are the cause of this decline? I mean, they've stated all of this. But then what is your what is your opinion on this? What is the cause of this decline? And
Okay. Right. I think that's a very relevant question because whenever they want to quote about the diminishing jobs when you are an accountant, I think they are not looking at the sector, but they are rather looking at the individual role. Now, you can't be hiring accountants to do bookkeeping. The cost of the wages are getting more and more expensive. It's actually so cheap, for example, to grow a corn or to grow papaya on the tree. What is expensive is the cost of the labor. Human is demanding higher and higher salary. Now, if let's say you graduate, you're going to ask yourself, I want to be paid 3,500 a month. And then I want to be paid 5,000 in 2 years' time. And then after 4 5 years, you say, I want to get a 10,000 salary. Well, I can't be paying you 10,000 just to sit down there and then take a piece of paper and then key in this is the amount. Now, that's where technology has changed things. So we have got automation, we have got artificial intelligence, we have got all the bombastic jargons that you're going to hear nowadays. In fact, those days when we used to example when I used to do the audit work, when we go to the farm, we virtually need to count the number of cows physically. You got to see all the lembu all there, right? And then you got to actually be there and then count 1 2 3 4, and then you really have to separate that. But we don't do that nowadays because the cows can all be the embedded chips. You just open up your computer, all the figures are all there. There are now technologies that are able to tell in a farm how many palm trees are still surviving, because the hostile environment, if there is a lightning strike, a palm tree may die. So people don't need to physically do all this kind of work. So those work that are more mundane and more physical has already been replaced. But the decision, the strategic, the high level work, the one that requires a lot of mental thinking, will still be there. Now, let me just ask a simple question just to let you think about it. Do you think that the way people cheat has evolved that people tend to get smarter in the way how they scam. And scams has always been there. Do you think that technology advancement will make scam obsolete? And if scam is not going to get obsolete, there will always be people who wants to cheat in the numbers. There will always be people who are not honest. And you need people like forensic accountants, people who check figures. How do you expect that will be replaced by robots? So it's not true. All right. It's not true. But yes, there are certain jobs that has evolved. So you need to learn different skill. For example, do you know how to fly drone? You'd be like, why would accountants need to fly drone? Because when you go to warehouse and you have lots and lots of goods, you don't use human account, but we actually operate, computer device and fly up all the drones and go to all the warehouse and scan. And that's how technology has changed things. That's why in our syllabus, we learn about cryptocurrencies, we learn about blockchains, all that is in the syllabus because we need to learn all that to keep up with the pace, but we're not losing jobs. So I hope that answers the question. So I don't think it's true.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lau. Very clear. All right. Other than the ACCA program at MCKL, we also have the ACCA Foundation in Accountancy program for those students who are high school leavers. They're interested in accounting. They don't want to do a diploma or a pre-U program. They just want to do something purely accounting.
Yep.
Um, if a person pursues that program, what are their options like?
Okay. I would just say that if you have like set up your mind
Yep.
and you're very, very clear,
Yep.
like okay, again example, I didn't know what is accounting. All right. So I was attracted in accounting, being a very Chinese uh, race kind of family. We always thought that money is the way of how we want to judge our success. And in I remember in the school tuition, this tuition teacher, principal account, was telling me that when you become an accountant, this is your salary. So he just wrote a figure, and then he put there 1 million. I was like, wow, accountants earn 1 million a year. So I just naturally got attracted. So every year we have this card that we have to fill in our chita chita. I don't know whether you all have that now or not. So every year I write that accountant, accountant, accountant. So right after my SPM, I went into a program that's called CAT. I'm actually the first batch of CAT when it was introduced. And it took me, that time it was 1.5 year. And then after that, I did ACCA, which takes me about 2 year or 2.5 year. But I graduated and completed my ACCA at the age of before 21 because I've not passed my birthday. Okay. Now, but what I'm trying to say is this is not very extraordinary. It's very normal, but it's fast. And the earlier you come up to the job market, the better your opportunity is going to be because you will be the one that reach out first. You gain the experience first. So if you're going to do, like, for example, other pathway, you can still reach at the end, but of course the amount of time that you need is going to be a bit long, but it's not going to be wasted because any journey that you take in your life, you're going to pick up something, but just don't stop there. The pandemic has caused something very, very unusual that we have not seen, in my entire generation. And there are a lot of people are wondering, like, should I give myself an excuse? Let's just stop and wait and see. Now, when the pandemic first started in 2020, I didn't know that it's going to be up to today and we're still like that. So I thought that it will only last 3 months, 6 months, but it just went on and on and on. And now we don't even know that by the end of 2021, it's still there or not. And if you have chose to wait at that point, up to now, you would have wasted, close to 400 over days. And that's a long time for a lifetime. You don't want to waste that. So if you are very definite, then FIA, it's the shortest pathway. You just come in, one way, like, express highway, come in, do complete a year, and then you come to ACCA. You will spend another 2 year plus to finish off, and you basically will become an ACCA at the age of 21. And that's in Malaysia. In UK, students actually start ACCA as young as the age of 16.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
crazy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lau. And I hope our viewers got enough information from your session today.